Right.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Dice Throne podcast. Before we get started, just wanted to say a couple things about what direction I'm going with this podcast. Um, this is not something that I'm. This is not a kind of thing where I have all of my entire plan for all the episodes just laid out. Um, what ends up happening, what has usually been the case so far, is that somebody comes up and says, I want to help out, and this is the topic I want to speak on. And I say okay, and we talk about that topic. I don't actually have any control over what we talk about. This last episode was on the paladin. This episode is on the monk. This next episode could be on the barbarian, the shadow thief, the samurai, Gavin Brown. I don't know. So yeah, that being said, if you would like to appear on an episode, you can email us at dicethronepodcast@gmail.com. With that out of the way, I'm here with Alex Lee. Uh,
Oh,
hey Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Alrighty, and we are going to talk about the monk. This is going to be a similar format as the paladin episode. We are just going to go through each and every one of the things in his moveset, and we're just going to talk about what we think is good with him, what we think is bad for him, what strategies we use. I'm just going to go over a quick couple of things about the monk for those who aren't familiar with him. Also, unlike the paladin episode, I'm going to be going through stuff. I'm gonna act as if somebody watching doesn't know anything about the monk, so I'm gonna explain everything we're talking about.
Sounds fair.
He's the only character in Dice Throne who has a 2-1-2-1 dice anatomy. He has 2 fists, 1 palm, 2 zens, and 1 lotus. He mostly focuses on being able to focus on offense or defense at any one time, but not both at the same time. He has effects like knockdown, which allow him to rush down the opponent, as well as stuff like evasive, which allows him to play defense. His base damage is generally weak, but he uses chi to increase the damage or to decrease incoming damage. From a balance perspective, he's known as being a pretty balanced character with some extremely overpowered upgrades. So just starting off here, we've got Fist Strike. This is a quote-unquote basic attack. On 3 fists, deal 4 damage. On 4 fists, deal 6 damage. And on 5 fists, deal 8 damage. The upgrade increases the damage from 4-6-8 to 5-7-9, and also gives you 2 chi. The upgrade to level 3 adds that on 3-of-a-kind numbers, you inflict knockdown. And knockdown is the opponent pays 2 CP, or they lose their offensive roll phase.
Yeah.
So I'd say this is in the realm of underpowered for balance concerns.
I completely agree.
Because if you compare it to, I actually compared this to the barbarians when I first saw it, and thought, wow, that does the same amount of damage as the barbarian plus the chi. That seems overpowered. Of course, comparing it to the barbarian is a bad idea, because the barbarian
just a little bit.
is a very different dice anatomy.
Yes.
If you compare this to, for example, the Shadow Thief's Dagger Strike, it's going to get worse, because Dagger Strike does 4-6-8 along with a bunch of other effects.
Yeah.
I would say that I would not intentionally try to chase this, because you also have Combo Strike, and there are much better options.
There's so much better. I don't think I've used First Strike in a game unless I have to for a very long time.
Yep. Yeah.
The upgrades are nice with the 2 chi, but once again, you have way better ways of gaining chi than First Strike.
Yep. I might actually play Fist Strike 2 just because it gives you chi. And the bug needs like a steady incoming stream of chi to really be able to dish out the damage. But I probably would not take the level 3.
No. To get the 3-of-a-kinds for a knockdown, if it happens, is fun. But once again, it's not something I would ever chase.
Yep.
It's not something I would go, you know what's really fun? Knockdown.
Yep.
It's when it comes to statuses, I always find knockdown is the one that's it's annoying.
Yep.
That's it. It doesn't affect
Knockdown.
it
Yeah.
too bad, but it's just annoying.
Knockdown is only real. I think knockdown is only really powerful if you can throw it at the opponent over and over again.
Hmm.
Um, cough cough gunslinger cough cough.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's where the knockdown becomes powerful. But if you're only really inflicting it like once every 4 turns or so, it is not going to be that
Yeah.
dangerous to an opponent, and it does nothing against shadow thieves or pirates or
No,
tacticians.
no, it is a waste of time for them.
Yep. Alrighty, next up we have Combo Strike. You need 3 fists and a palm. You do 6 damage and you roll a die. On fist you add 2 damage. On palm you add 3 damage. On Zen you gain 2 chi. And on Lotus you get evasive or cleanse, your choice. The upgrade to this allows you to roll 2 dice. And it turns the ons into multipliers. So if you roll, for example, 2 palms on that, you get to add 6 damage.
Yeah. I love Combo Strike. Combo Strike is my bread and butter when I play my monk.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do, Chase, every time. If I get 3 fists, I just know I need to get that palm, and I'm good. I absolutely love it. If you can upgrade this early, while everyone else is kind of still building, you're going to just wreck them. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't think I use Combo Strike that much unless I'm going for, say, Tempest Rush or something else and I miss it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it has pretty good potential though, especially if you upgrade it. I would mostly be interested in getting 4 chi and dealing damage at the same time.
Yeah. That would be
Um,
excellent.
it's also one of the best ways for the monk to get cleanse, which is needed against some characters, notably Pirate and Pyromancer.
Shadow Thief as well, to get rid of that poison. It is wonderful.
Yeah, I guess so. I think evasive would be a bit more helpful in dodging the 15 damage.
Oh, yeah. No. If it's a 15, go for that. But if it's just,
Right.
I'm thinking their defensive rolls when they can inflict poison. If
Yep.
you have a cleanse, just go, nah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Meditate. If you roll 3 palms, you get 5 chi and evasive or cleanse. You don't deal damage.
No.
The upgrade gives you max chi instead of 5 chi, which doesn't make any difference unless your stack limit is greater than 5. And you get evasive and cleanse. It also adds Zen Strike. For 2 fists and 2 Zens, you can do 6 damage and gain 2 chi.
Yeah. Now, meditate, and this is when I've taught people how to play monk before. Meditate always comes up that, monk almost needs a rhythm to him.
Yeah.
He needs to hit and then meditate, hit, then meditate. I always find that that's a great way to play him, that you can gain chi and then hit back. Because only getting, 3 of the Zens is fairly common.
Right.
So with having 2 out of the 6, it might happen, but I always try to keep that rhythm going of like, okay, here's an offensive attack. All right, here's a meditate. Also, what's really handy with the meditate is that you're not going to be getting a defensive roll back on you on your turn. So you're just able to just sit there and just bunker down.
Yep.
With the upgrade, I think it's even better because of getting evasive and cleanse. Because both of those, if you can get your stack limit on there for both of them, fantastic. Zen Strike, just a better fist strike.
Yep. It's fist strike 2, but better.
Yeah. So 6 damage and 2 chi. It's middle of the road damage, nothing to make someone go, oh wow. But it's enough that eventually they're gonna go, okay, I'm at 2 health now just because of Zen Strike, and he's been just using his chi on me every single time.
Yep.
So I really do enjoy Meditate 2. One is probably the upgrade I hope to get right away.
Yep. I think one thing that you have to think about while you're using Meditate over and over again is you have to actually hit the opponent to win.
Yes. Okay.
Unless you're a Shadow Thief, in which case that may not apply.
Fair.
No, Sorry, let me reset that joke. Unless you're a tactician, in which case that may not apply.
All right, that's better.
Yep. Zen Strike, again, it's Fist Strike, but it's easier to roll.
Yeah.
I don't really use Zen Strike all that much, but I could definitely see how it's helpful as like something to lean on if you somehow manage to miss meditate.
Yeah.
And another great perk of meditate is evasive. You can stall up barbarians, you can stall up shadow thieves, you can stall up pirates, and cleanse lets you deal with pirates, and I guess huntresses.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love evasive. I have made some barbarians with reckless very angry at me
Yes.
before with evasive and the monk. I love it. I think it. To be honest, I think it's the best status in the game because Moon Elf, Monk, and Gunslinger can use them to such advantage that it's just insane.
Yep. I think out of all the characters that have evasive, the monk is the one who uses it the least.
Yes.
Because the Moon Elf basically needs it to survive, and Gunslinger is the gunslinger.
Though, Moon Elf, their defensive roll, I think, is insane, though, when you can roll 2 feet and then just, that's it.
Yep, it is the best defense in the game from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
I would also, because you could also argue that, like, the Pirates is good because it does 5 damage back.
Oh, yeah.
But as a defense, the Moon Elf is the best.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Tempest Rush. This requires 3 palms. Roll 3 dice. Deal damage equal to the total roll value. You may spend 2 chi to reroll any one of these dice. For 1 CP, the upgrade for Tempest Rush 2 adds that if the roll value is at least 12, you inflict knockdown.
Yeah.
This is my version of Combo Strike. If I can get the 3 palms, I'm using it.
Absolutely.
It's very similar to the Barb's Overpower. You can do 3 damage, but you can also do 18 damage.
Yeah, it's one of those moves that's better than the ultimate, I think.
Yep.
And I was very surprised when Rerolled was announced and a lot of characters were getting buffs that they left this one alone.
I don't... Yeah, if you're going off the images off the Kickstarter, that's not final.
Oh, that is very true. I don't know if that is final.
Yeah.
But on the image on Kickstarter, it matches it completely. So if they leave this alone, I will be surprised.
Right.
Just for the fact that it can get outrageous, especially if you have your chi loaded up. Oh boy.
Yes, because you can also, like, the max, I guess, on turn 1, the damage cap of Tempest Rush is 23.
Yeah.
If you roll an 18 and also have 5 chi.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the monk, you can't really come up with a damage cap because he has no damage cap.
No.
He's one of the few characters that has that little trait, which makes answering questions like what is the highest amount of damage you can do irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really do love the move. I think it's great. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world when you do roll very high. It also is one of the most disheartening things when you roll, a 1 and then 2 2s or something like that. Like, it's still good damage, but you know the potential. You know what it can do. And missing that sometimes is very disheartening.
Yep.
But that is what Tippets and Sixit and Samesies are all about, right?
Yes.
Because I would rather spend those cards to make a very effective Tempest Rush than chase the ultimate.
Yep. You can also spend 2 chi to reroll, which is a good safety, which is a good safety net. Since you would, if you have 2 chi, you would have to roll 4 1s to get a 3 instead of 3 1s.
Yes.
Because you would obviously reroll one of the 1s.
Of course.
Yep, because nobody likes 3 damage attacks, especially not.
No, those are cute.
Yep. The upgrade is probably a sell for me. It only costs 1 CP, but it has very little effect, and it's random whether or not you actually get it.
Yeah. The 12 in Knockdown, as we've already talked about Knockdown, It's annoying. Once again, I'm not going to go chasing it. So I completely agree that Tempest Rush on its own is already so powerful. You don't need to really buff it.
Yeah.
If it was to increase the amount of dice you roll, absolutely I'd go for it, but it doesn't. So I usually leave it alone.
Yeah. Alrighty. Moving on, we are already halfway done with the board. Jeez. This is going. I feel like this is going way faster than the Paladin video.
Excellent.
We've got Fist of Harmony. It's a small straight. You do 5 damage and you gain 2 chi. And then Fist of Harmony, and then the upgrade for 2 CP lets you do 6 damage, then gain 3 chi.
Yeah.
Meh. It's a small straight.
Yeah. Straights, I don't really go for straights with Monk. It's not
Okay.
as enticing as the Barbarians or other players where you're like, okay, if I get this large straight, this is going to really, put me forward and get me closer to a win. Yeah. If I get it, it's fine. I'm gaining chi and doing damage.
Yep.
But if you have other things upgraded on your board, it's the one that you're like, I don't know if I want it.
Yep, I feel like this falls in the category of multiple Season 2 characters, like the, come to mind, the Tactician, the Artificer, and I guess the Vampire Lord, where the small straight is okay, but the large straight is really good.
Yes.
Especially with the Tactician, I do find myself chasing large straights when you're like in the mid game.
Yes. Tactician
I only spam Profiteer in the early game because that's how I play Tactician.
Yep. That's how everyone should play Tactician.
Yes. It's Profiteer. It's more annoying than it is effective.
Yes.
The upgrade is probably a sell because I don't really use it enough for it to be worth just a +1 damage and a +1 chi.
Yeah, and when you have other cards that are much, much better, even like his personal cards that like Contemplate and Palm Strike and Mystic Mantra.
Yep.
I would rather be spending on those than trying to upgrade that.
Yep. Next up, we have Fist of Tranquility, your large straight. And this does 7 damage and gives you 2 chi and evasive. The upgrade increases the chi gain from 2 to 3. It inflicts knockdown, and it also comes with bonus ability, Way of the Monk, and you get this by rolling 1 Fist, 1 Palm, 1 Zen, and 1 Lotus. If you do, you gain 3 evasive and deal 2 undefendable damage.
I love this one.
Yep.
This is just such. It's one of the ones where they're adding the new attack makes it so much better as well. Because having such a strange probability with having the 2-1-2-1, this happens a lot. And if you're able to gain those evasives and do undefendable damage and just chip away, and you can also add chi to undefendable.
Yes.
So if you got that's 7 undefendable damage and you're gaining 3 evasive.
Yeah.
So you're just able to just dart out of the way while doing a substantial amount of undefendable damage, which as the monk, undefendable is great.
Yep.
If you can keep your chi for offensive, great.
Undefendable is so great, his base board has none of it.
Nope.
Another thing to think about is that the monk technically has no damage cap, so basically any amount of damage is theoretically broken.
Yeah. Oh, I love
it. Yeah. I would say the base ability is pretty nice. It's basically a Fan the Hammer.
Yes.
You're doing a good amount of damage, but the main thing is the evasive. If you can get this turn 1, if I get this turn 1, I'm happy. Even if I don't have any chi to bump up that 7, I'm still getting pretty good defensive potential for the opponent's turn 1.
Yes. I completely agree.
The upgrade is absolutely broken.
I love it.
It costs 2 CP. The upgrade to the large straight is already pretty nice for 2 CP because it makes it 3 chi, and it also inflicts knockdown, which, as we've said, is kind of good.
Yeah. If it happens, it happens. It's
but obviously, I could talk for days about how broken Way of the Monk is. It's not spammable. It's not spammable like a certain other bonus ability on a certain other large straight.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Because you get 3 evasive every time you use it, and that's the main reason you use it. I would probably not spend 3 evasives every single turn on every single attack unless my opponent is a Shadow Thief or a
Yes.
Pirate. So I would use this and then turn around and use, say, Tempest Rush or something, and then go back to using this once I'm almost out of evasives.
Yeah, that would be, once again, it's that whole rhythm thing, which is so great with a monk, is that it's always that, like,
Yep.
jump back and forth, which is, it's funny as like a monk, it's almost like a martial art where you're like, okay, I'm going to use this tactic for a bit. It's not like other characters where like, okay, I'm going to try to get this alert straight every single turn because then that's how I'll win.
Yep.
The monk, you have to do a bit of like, okay, this is good for a bit, but now I'm going to jump over to this also very proven good move and back and forth, which I love.
Yep. Just like running all over the place.
Yeah.
Uses one of the few characters that when I play competitively, I am darting around from ability to ability.
Yeah.
In comparison to like the Shadow Thief, where I use Pickpocket a bit, Shadow Dance a bit, Cornucopia a bit, and then I'm basically focused on large straights.
Yeah, no, you have with Shadow Thief, that's perfect.
Yep.
The possibility of 15 damage, yeah,
Yes.
why wouldn't you?
Yep. Barbarian, you're mostly focusing on Overpower and Reckless.
Yep.
Pyromancer, you do 1 Burning Soul and you're on straights.
Yep.
The Monk is at, like, let me rephrase what I said a bit earlier. The Monk is one of the only characters where in the late game he is still darting around using all different types of abilities.
Yeah.
And as another comparison against that, don't even talk about the Gunslinger. It's like a reverse Gunslinger.
When Gunslinger came out, I felt very comfortable with her because of playing Monk so much with Season 1.
Yep.
That it was very like, okay, I know this. I know this, how to play this.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Which brings in the whole Kung Fu thing from the 90s, which made me kind of laugh a little.
Yep. Next up, we've got Lotus Strike. This is your good old 4 6s. You do 5 damage, then increase Chi stack limit by 1, the base stack limit is 5, and gain max Chi. You may spend 2 Chi to make the attack undefendable.
Yep.
Okay, it's I could care less about the damage.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The stack limit increase is the best part about it. The only reason why I think they put the damage there is so that you can throw all of the Chi you currently have at it, so you don't waste any Chi.
I think that's exactly what it's for.
Yep.
So it doesn't just seem like another buff attack, which it would be kind of sad for a 6s attack.
Lotus Strike 2 costs 2 CP. It increases the damage to 7, makes it undefendable for free instead of having to spend Chi, and it adds Way of the Lotus, a 3 6s roll, which increases your Chi stack limit by 1 and gives you max Chi. It's basically Lotus Strike without the damage.
I really like Way of the Lotus.
Yes.
Because once again, it's, if you could get this early on, this is something to bounce back and forth between Meditate.
Yep.
So if you increase it, okay, now you're going to go to Meditate, then I'm going to hit, then I'm going to, if you have a possibility of getting it again, once again, go for it. It is such a good way to help you. If you're hitting for extra 6 or 7 damage, you are going to be just fine.
Yep. I would say...
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's, once again, Lotus Strike 2 is a fun card. If you get it, that's great, but I would rather just go Way of Lotus and just cheap stacks up, because once again, the chance of getting 4 6s, not that great. 3.
Are you there? I think we're having internet issues. Okay.
Still not great. All right. All right. Looks like everything's good on my end here.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Technical difficulty.
Yep. Apologize. We had a bit of internet issue there. Um,
That's all
to-
good.
yeah, for most characters, I think in 99% of games, I usually take the upgrade to the 4/6s because it comes with the 3/6s. The only
Yes.
places I don't think I would take it would be the pirate, duh, and
Yeah.
the shadow thief because he already has a 3/6s and the upgrade is kind of underwhelming.
Yes.
But this I would take 100% of the time, no matter when I drew it, during a game and what situation we were in. I would take it. It just does so many things at an average CP cost.
Yeah. For just two, like overall, his upgrades, when it comes to his offensive upgrades, are all fairly cheap.
Yep.
So like a two cost for this, all day. I'll do it all day.
Yeah, I think his upgrade costs are pretty average. He has a 1 cost and a 3 cost, so it averages at
Yes.
cost 2, which is which is average.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next up, we've got Serenity. This is his defensive roll. He rolls 4 dice. He gets 1 chi per Zen he rolled and does 1 damage back per fist he rolled. The upgrade increases the amount of dice you roll to 5 for 3 CP, and also says that if you roll 2 fists and a palm, you inflict knockdown. The level 3 upgrade costs 4 CP, and adds that if you roll a Zen and a Lotus, you get evasive or cleanse, your choice.
Yeah.
This defensive is bordering the line between good and great. You can get it's one of the things like often talk about the irony where some defensives are better than others when the character should thematically have an awful defense.
Yes.
The Vampire Lord, for example, is supposed to have an absolutely awful defense because her healing is so powerful. But her defense is actually good in the fact that you always get something. Whether it's
Agreed.
a bleed or a blood power or a bit of damage prevention, you get something. With this, you can get something, but you can also get nothing.
Yeah. It's not the best. I wish it was a bit better. And I do agree that I think that this is one of the ones that thematically the monk should have had a pretty good defense but that's where like evasives come in, where you're probably going to be using evasives more than a defensive role.
Yep. I think they were kind of thinking of like in most like martial art that I've been exposed to, it's better to avoid an attack than to try to block it.
Exactly.
And that's what the monk does. His base defense literally has no damage prevention printed on it, but he can try to dodge with his evasive or use a bit of his chi to block.
Yeah.
It generally cements him as a defensive character, even though his defense doesn't actually have any defensive qualities.
No, it's the one part of the character that I really do wish they would have just made a little bit like a bit more of like damage prevention on there would have been just enough for it to be perfect. But as you said, with the chi and the evasive, that's where you have to kind of look at like, okay, if I'm going to be rolling this, but we're going to spend this much chi to block this, and this is still good enough damage to take, while I'm also doing damage and regaining said chi.
Yep. His upgrades, I think I would take the level 3 upgrade, but not the level 2. Knockdown, again, is only okay. Especially considering it's coming off your defense, so if you roll something else that inflicts knockdown, you just lost that knockdown your very next turn.
The Serenity 3, as you said, almost makes it like the same as the Vampire, that you're going to be getting something.
Is that correct? Can we, I actually have never thought about this. Can we name a roll where the monk gets nothing off this defense? Yes, 5 palms.
Yeah.
So you have a chance to get nothing, but that chance is mitigated to an extreme level.
That is very true. As we've said it over and over, like, chi is your defense. If you have to spend it, it's what the character is.
Yep.
So, even at Serenity 3 for 4 CP, which also is a character who doesn't really generate a lot of CP.
Yep. Originally, we were going to have somebody else on here, and that somebody else is also a competitive monk player. and I played a game against them, and their strategy is a lot of you're not going to use evasive on this. Let me just throw 2 more chi at you while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Because you're allowed to do that. Because that's what the monk is all about. His base damage doesn't do much. He just throws a bunch of extra damage at you, and that provides some versatility. If you throw like a Fist of Tranquility at them and the opponent is foolish enough to immediately go in and invade, then you haven't wasted any of your chi on that attack when they evaded it.
Yeah. I always make the joke because I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so every time I use chi, I always scream Kamehameha because it's what it feels like. It's like, all right, I'm going to hit you, but wait, there's more, and then just boom.
I don't really get the joke, so.
Oh, okay. It's one of the.
I'm going to get at least one. I'm going to get at least one comment.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you? I know, but it feels so good with a Tempest Rush at a high roll to just unload 5 chi on there as well, or 6 or 7 even if you've upgraded, because it's just something that it's so good.
Yep.
And the moment I started playing Dice Throne years ago, and when I first saw the monk, it was love at first sight.
Yep.
First character I ever played was Barbarian because I'm like, all right, blunt object, this should be good to go. And Barbarian's fun, but there's something about the monk where it's like, all right, I'm going to be always doing something. It's not just, okay, I'm going to hit. It's, all right, now we're going to get chi. All right, now we're going to evade here. Okay, we got some cleanse with some poison coming in. They're gone. And it's a synergy to it that I absolutely love.
Yep. And finally, last but the exact opposite of least, we have Transcendence.
Yes.
The monk's ultimate. This is obtained by rolling 5 6s, as is literally every other ultimate. You do 10 ultimate damage. You inflict knockdown. You gain evasive and cleanse. Actually, that's in the opposite order. It should say gain evasive and cleanse, inflict knockdown, deal 10 ultimate damage, then increase chi stack limit by 1 and gain max chi.
Yep.
It's basically.
I do believe they fixed that in the reroll in the image on Kickstarter. They did change the wording on that, so it does.
Yep.
It's accurate.
Yep, I can check the Kickstarter image after this, and I'll pin a comment or something.
I have it open right here.
Oh, okay, you could pull it up.
Yeah, gain evasive and cleanse, inflict knockdown, deal 10 damage, then increase chi stack limit by 1 and gain max chi.
Nicely done, Dice Throne Beta team. Fix that inconsistency there in the order of things. So yeah, it's basically just Lotus Strike, but with a bunch of flashy ultimate stuff thrown onto it.
Yep, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've done this.
Yes.
It's not one, as we said, the Tempest Rush with max chi is better.
Yep.
When damage-wise, or if you have an upgraded combo strike, it's better for gaining evasive or cleanse.
Yep. Well, obviously you have to think about if you're doing damage from an ultimate, the opponent can do squat to prevent it.
It's very true.
Whereas with Tempest Rush, if you do 23 damage to a Moon Elf, they're obviously going to roll for defense and evade against that.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah, the ultimate for Monk doesn't excite me as much as the rest of his board.
Yep.
It's not with other characters, once again, throwing in the Barbarian, because, of course, there's going to be a lot of things great about that character. It's, Manny loves it so very much, and he puts all his love into that character. That, his ultimate, with the stun alone, I would take it.
Yep.
If it was even less damage and still had a stun on it, bam, I would go for it every time. Transcendence, not so much. It's, once again, if you get it, absolutely use it, because as you said, there's squat anybody can do to defend it, and it is increasing chi, but there are much easier ways and much more efficient ways to gaining that on the rest of his board.
Way of the Lotus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let's talk about the Monk's character-specific cards. He has 2 instant cards and 2 main phase cards, which is pretty irregular.
Yes.
Most characters do not have 2 instant cards. The only ones I can name off the top of my hand, off the top of my head, that aren't Cursed Pirates are the Shadow Thief.
I,
Can you think of any others? No, not.
oh, I'm drawing a blank because yeah, I was gonna go with Shadow Thief.
Yep, not the Pyro, not the Paladin, not the
Nope.
Barb, not the Moon Elf. So nobody else from season 1. Not the Gunslinger. I'm not sure on the Samurai. Tactician, not Tactician. He only has 1.
Yep.
Huntress has 1. Artificer has 1, and I think that's Nanite Assault. Again, Cursed Pirate doesn't count because her deck anatomy is messed up.
Just a little.
I don't think Seraph has any, and Vampire Lord has 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alrighty. So the monk is the only character, if we're remembering correctly, which you probably aren't, that other than the Shadow Thief, that has 2 instants in his character-specific set.
And both are really well. The Contemplate one is amazing.
Yes.
0 cost for 2 chi.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yes, this is in the realm of stuff like Ambush, where the opponent does something, and then you say, "By the way, I have this in my back pocket." It's even more effective in that it costs 0 CP. So when the opponent thinks you can't do anything, you can.
It's great. Not that I'm probably going to butcher the ruminate.
Yeah, ruminate.
Ruminate. There we go. 3 for 5 is a little high for my taste, especially with the rest of his board being quite cheap.
And considering that, also considering that the monk has no economy.
Yeah, it's just not for me. When I could roll, 3 Zens and do the exact same.
Yep.
Why wouldn't I just try to roll? Better. Yeah, and especially if you have it integrated.
Yeah, and one thing you want to think about is you can do something like gain 5 chi, and then you can still go ahead and roll a Tempest Rush or whatever.
Yes.
Next up, we have Palm Strike for 0 CP, inflict knockdown.
A sell. It's a sell for me.
Yep. I said this on the Paladin episode, and I'll say it again. Cheap main phase singular status effect infliction cards are sells for me. They are not impactful enough or powerful enough to usually be worthwhile.
100%. Once again, even if it was a better status, I might have given it a second look. But Palm Strike for a knockdown is still just knockdown. Yep.
And then finally, we have Mystic Mantra. For 3 CP, gain 1 chi, a singular chi, gain evasive and cleanse, and inflict knockdown on target opponent.
See, this is when that 3 CP makes me, in the right situation, I would buy this card just for the evasive and cleanse.
Yes.
Gaining
the rest
1
of it is quite weak.
Yeah, one chi's nice, and man, we're really dumping on knockdown on this game, but it's just, in the right situation, if I am in dire needs of evasive and cleanse, and I do have that CP, yeah, I'll go for that just for those 2.
Yep, this is a good thing to combo a Vegas Baby into. If you manage to roll 3 CP on that, you can pull this out of your back pocket.
Yep.
Without the opponent ever seeing it coming.
Yeah, it's average. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the monk. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think we covered it all. As I said, like my main strategy with the monk is always having a rhythm to him.
Yes.
If you get that rhythm to him, you are going to be just fine. You will take some big licks, absolutely, with that defense. If you're not wanting to spend your chi, because I'm fairly hoardy with my chi. I like to use it for offense over defense.
Right.
I only usually use it for defense if it matches the damage coming in. If I'm getting hit for 5, I'll spend the 5 just so I take none.
Right.
But otherwise, I'm going to hold on to it. I've played some really fun, like, 5 or 6 player games, where just because I'm meditating and hoarding that chi, that I'm able to knock out characters in one turn and win, just
Yep.
because I'm sitting there with that rhythm of like, okay, I don't want to take any consequential damage because of this. I'm going to meditate. All right, now I'm going to hit big. All right, they're out, they're out. Now it's just me and a pyromancer, and I know I can take that.
Yep. Yeah, he is. Again, it's a lot of like balance, and I say balance literally because he's standing on one foot in a lot of his.
I believe that's what his minifigure in Dice Run Adventures is doing, which
Yes,
makes me very happy.
Oh, card back. It's the card back. He's standing on one foot.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. I think he might also be standing 1 foot in the leaflet art for Rerolled on the Kickstarter page. Don't quote me on that. He might also be standing on 1 foot in Comic Zero.
Yes, he is in Comic Zero. Okay. And it looks like he also has that pose in a bunch of the re-rolled arts for his moves, too.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There's art for moves. Played too much Season 1.
Yeah, me too. It's really fun. My wife really likes to play the pirate, and I forget like how flashy the boards look because I've been a monk for so long where it's like, I'm fine with just tan.
Yep. Monk just as hand. I make custom characters, and I will say the Season 1 board is a lot more appealing from a custom standpoint. It is way easier to make. I could not make a Season 2 board and be alive to tell the tale.
That's very true. I wouldn't.
A lot of the custom boards I've made have been more leaning to 8 rectangles with various colors and text boxes in front of them.
I'm still going to be taking a while to get used to different colored dice as well. That's going to be a bit for me. Where like
the different colors, like the
the Lotus is red, the palm is green, the fist turns brown. Of course, they kept Zen black.
Yep.
But
I was wondering. I actually do have a funny story about the symbols. We have difficulty telling apart the fists from the palms when it's like it's late at night or the light's not on or something like that. Yeah. One of my monk dice has a finger missing on it on the 2.
Okay.
I'm not going to send it in or anything because it doesn't like it's very small, but it's kind of funny because when you roll it sideways, it looks even more like a palm.
I guess so. Just a matter where it's pointing.
Yep.
Oh, that's fun. I'm not one to like, because my Seraph dice are a little off. There's one of her wings that are a shade lighter and stuff like that. I think it adds character.
Yep.
I keep it for that reason.
Yeah. I do think when you look at the Seraph dice from like a certain mental perspective, when you look at the 5, you see like a darker shade of blue.
Yeah.
I used the Seraph dice for testing for a custom once, and that's the perspective I was looking at the 5 from. Like it's a dark blue. Anyway, that's about it.
I think we've covered it all.
Yep. That was episode 2 of the Dice Throne podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure, I'd like to hear your opinion. Episode 1, it was just a black screen because I have no editing skills whatsoever and couldn't edit a screen in there to save my life. But this episode, you'll notice if everything is working correctly, which is doubtful, the thumbnail art should be on the screen the entire time. So I'll go back to make sure that it is on the screen the entire time, but that is hopefully it'll look a bit better. I'm not sure what else I could put in there that makes sense from a podcast perspective. If it's still a bit too boring for you. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.